إن الحمد لله إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Who has the copy in English also? You have it, 54? Yeah. تفضل يا إحسان.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال المؤلف رحمه الله تعالى باب بر الصالحين. قال الله تعالى من بعدهم يقولون ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان. الآية. وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه مرفوعا يقول الله تعالى من عادى لي وليا فقد بارزني بالحرب وجار. معناه إذا خرج رجلان من الصنفين للقتال وها هنا من عادى ولي الله وهو مبارز لله في الحرب. وعن ابي هريره مرفوعا لا يبغض الانصار رجل يؤمن بالله واليوم الاخر.
تفضل شيخ. What do you have?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, and those who come after them say, our Lord, forgive us and our brethren who preceded us in faith, and put not in our hearts any resentment towards those who have believed. O Lord, you are all kind, all merciful. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he narrated that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Allah Azza wa Jal, he says, the one who shows hostility to my wali, a pious worshipper of mine, he called me to duel with.
Call me to duel with, okay? That's
Called
what
me
they
to
said?
duel with. That's what they said. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he narrated that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, whosoever believes in Allah Azza wa Jalla in the last day does not hate the Ansar, and does not hate the Ansar, and it says the Muslims, helpers of the Prophet in Medina.
Yeah. As you see, Al-Imam al-Sheikh Muhammad Abdur-Razzaaq rahimahullah rahmatullahi wasi'ah, that he mentioned and said that from the kaba'ir al-dhunub, or from the major sins. If you notice that he put in the chapter, it says Bughd as-Salihin, the chapter of hating the righteous. If you notice, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, that from the kaba'ir in which the Imam Muhammad Abdur-Wahhab and also likewise the great Imam al-Dhahabi authorized this treatise and also explain it to people that from the kaba'ir, as we know, that the major sins is baridatul kufr. As I'm sure that everyone is aware of, that major sins is what they call baridatul kufr. That major sins will lead you down a road of kufr. And as we talked about, and there's many damages and harms, major harms, in regards to committing major sins. What Ibn al-Qayyim mentions and talks about how it makes one lose his intelligence, how he becomes more stupid, and he loses his major or his mere common sense. It removes his intelligence. It also likewise removes the shyness. And it also takes down the road that leads the one down, like we said, to the road of kufr. He said that generally you'll find that Ahl al-Ilm that mention that in regards to the kaba'ir or kaba'ir al-dhunub, that from major sins, he says generally you will find in which Imam Muhammad bin Salih al-Uthaymeen rahmatullah alayhi that he mentioned in regards to major sins, that he said generally that major sins is considered a type, generally, is considered a type of kufr. And it is considered a form generally of shirk. Generally. Not the major shirk, but the minor shirk. Why? Because he says that one is given precedence to his hawa over what Allah tabarak wa ta'ala and his messenger has commanded. That you give precedence to your desires. And you give precedence to that over what Allah has commanded you. So generally the major sins is considered, and generally from the aspect of what? Shirk. That's why you'll find a lot of the ulama from the past, they are considered the kaba'ir from shirk al-asghar. You'll find in a lot of different texts that they mention, they consider a type of minor sin, what they call shirk al-asghar, minor shirk. Even though Allah Ta'ala in his book, even he breaks down, Ta'ala mentions the categories of shirk, the categories of shirk being broken down to major and minor. As Allah Ta'ala, I'm sure everyone has said, or everyone has seen in the first part of the book, where it says, "In tajtanibu kaba'ira ma tunhawna an, nukaffir ankum sayyi'atikum wa nudkhilukum mudkhalan karima." You've seen that Allah Ta'ala breaks down sins into being what? Major and minor. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says in His book, if you refrain and you abstain from committing the kaba'ir al-dhunub, but kaba'ir ma tunhawna an, nukaffir ankum sayyi'atikum wa nudkhilukum mudkhalan karima. That from those major sins, if you remain from them of which you've been prohibited, we will remit from you the what? The minor sins. And there's another there's another ayah where Allah Ta'ala says, illa al-lamam. If you notice in the ayah which is in Surah An-Najm, those who avoid the major sins, illa al-lamam. Allah mentions in another ayah, illa al-lamam. Inna rabbaka wasi'ul maghfirah, which comes in Surah An-Najm. So you'll find that Allah Ta'ala, in regards to the major sins, He Himself mentioned there are major and there are minor. For the major, like we said, those major sins, that if one was to avoid them, then Allah Ta'ala will remit from him the minor ones. And as you'll find in the beginning of the book, if you find the actual beginning of the treatise, where Ibn Abbas had mentioned the statement, and it's also in the introduction, if you look, where it says, لا كبيرة مع الاستغفار ولا صغيرة مع الإصرار. لا كبيرة مع الاستغفار ولا صغيرة مع الإصرار. That there's no major sins along with those, or with that, with one makes forgiveness, with all the conditions and prerequisites fulfilled, of course. لا كبيرة مع الاستغفار. There's no major sins along with what? One making istighfar. Of course we know, a tawbah an-nasuh, that which is tawbah with all the prerequisites fulfilled. And there's no saghira ma'al israr. And there's no minor sins with the one making, or continuously, as they say, israr or ilhah, that he's insisting upon doing it continuously. Because as we know, likewise, the minor sins can become what? Major, along with the condition that the person, if he is insistent upon doing it consistently, then the minor sins will come and be from the minor sins will become from the major ones. So we said, just to give us a little introduction before I wanted to speak about today, that from the major sins, of course, Sheikh Muhammad Abdur-Razzaaq started with the highest, and you will find, you will go down the ladder, and you will find that Allah Ta'ala, even in his book, Sheikh Muhammad Abdur-Razzaaq in his treatise, you will find that he follows the methodology of how Allah Ta'ala sent down those ayats in his book. as far as i'lam rahimakallah, yajibu alayna, to the end of it. They didn't mention the dalil along with it. If you notice, likewise, the tartib, as far as arranging the sins, from that which is, for example, from the major ones. But, however, in the magnitude of the sin, it could go what? It could be all considered all major. But the magnitude can come as far as in the level of major, in the realm of major, could go from the what? Of what is relatively speaking from the lowest to the highest. For example, what Umar Quinn said in the lecture, but I wanted to add a little fa'idah onto what Ibn al-Qayyim mentions in I'lam al-Muwaqqi'in. I'lam al-Muwaqqi'in, where he says, قُلْ إنما حرم ربي الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن والإثم والبغي بغير الحق وأن تشركوا بالله ما لم ينزل به سلطانا وأن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلموا. Ibn al-Qayyim mentions in I'lam al-Muwaqqi'in about this ayah. قُلْ, say that my Lord has made forbidden fawahish, those reprehensible matters that are done with the private part. مَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا وَمَا بَطَنَ. Ibn al-Qayyim says in this ayah that Allah arranged the most least magnitude of major sin. He called them all major, to that which is the highest in magnitude and in the degree of it. He says, قُلْ إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ رَبِّي الْفَوَاحِشِ مَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا وَمَا بَطَنَ وَالْإِثْمِ. I don't have to explain that. I think it was already explained a couple of nights ago. وَالْإِثْمِ وَالْبَغْيَ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ. Notice Allah Ta'ala says, وَأَن تُشْرِكُوا بِاللَّهِ مَا لَمْ يُنَزِّلْ بِهِ سُلْطَانًا. What's the last part? Notice how Allah mentioned the sin after. That you say upon Allah what you have no knowledge of. Allah mentioned the sin after shirk. And Ibn al-Qayyim mentioned that what? That Allah mentioned the least amount of what was the level as far as in magnitude of major sins, all the way up to the what? The highest, the greatest. Because saying upon Allah you have no knowledge of has shirk in it. It is shirk. Because it's as if you're the legislator. And we know that's also part of Tawheed. To believe there's no one that what? There's no one that legislates anything except Him Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. To say upon Allah what you have no knowledge, notice Allah graded it to be what? Higher in this ayah than what? The shirk. So we say in regards to this, knowing that the major sins is something that all of us need to avoid, and that if one was to fall into it, then he needs to hasten towards performing that at-tawbat an-nasuh. From those kaba'ir, like we said, the kaba'ir and all the different harms it has, accompanies along with it, and I think that's so many numerous, that I can't mention all the different mafasid and the corrupt matters of what major sins brings, of what is removing one's intelligence, or bringing harm to His provisions, and also bringing harm to where even the animals and the khalq even start cursing the creation. Now, the animals start cursing the creation because of the evil acts they do, and also likewise seeing different things, what happens with our families and our children, them not acting correctly based upon our actions, different types of things that we don't have time to enumerate of the different harms of major sins. And I remember, even when I was discussing with a lot of our brothers from the dua, from the strongest of dua, even from Salafi Pub and Abu Hakim, back in the 90s and in the early 2000, 2001, 2002, I noticed a lot of du'at used to come and they said, the problem with here in Philadelphia is the sins. He said the sins is a problem here. And everybody used to say that. He said the problem is the sins. People love to steal, they love to kill, they love to fornicate, they just love to be foul, as they say. It's just the sins is a problem. The sins is what's holding back the people from progressing in the dawah, from moving forward in a manner that we probably wouldn't be able to imagine where the doors could be open if everybody was to start acting in accordance with Allah and His Messenger have brought, and what Allah has sent down to His Messenger, excuse me. But from those kaba'ir, ya ma'ashar ikhwa, as I wanted to speak about today, from the kaba'ir is, as you'll notice, Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab mentioned, bughd as-salihin. Hating the righteous is also from the kaba'ir. As we know, the awliya of Allah, and this is something I want everyone to be attentive of, as a lot of people think that the wali or wali is something or someone of what comes to our minds when we hear the word wali, especially in the asahat al-da'wiyah. What will come to a person's mind is they think that a wali is someone from those of the Sufiya or the Turuq al-Sufiya, or the Mashayikh al-Turuq al-Sufiya, from those who are upon mysticism, or that which is they practice those innovative practices from the Sufiya. But that's not a wali. Every mu'min, taqi is a wali, with no exception. That's why we should be very careful in harming one another. Every mu'min taqi is a wali of Allah. So if you harm your brother or harm your sister, what does it say in the chapter? As one chapter says, Allah Ta'ala is mubadiz bil harb. With another narration that we know, which is in the Sahihain, Allah Ta'ala says, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned the hadith al-Qudsi, that Allah Ta'ala says, Man aada li waliyan faqad adhantu bil harb. وما يتقرب إلي عبدي بشيء أحب إليه مما افترضته عليه ولا يزال العبد يتقرب إلي بالنوافل حتى أحبه. To the end of the hadith, where Allah Ta'ala says, whoever harms a wali of mine, I will declare war against him. I will declare and make war with him. So, when you harm your brother, or you harm your sister, one has to always be very careful, because every mu'min taqi is a wali of Allah. That's based upon the ayah, which is in Surah Yunus. Allah Ta'ala says in his book, he says, Ala inna awliya Allah, la khawfun alayhim, wa la hum yahzanun, alladina amanu, wa ish, wa kanu ish, yattaqun. Verily the awliya of Allah, they will have no fear upon them, nor will they be sad, nor will they grieve. Those who believe, Allah Ta'ala gave the ta'rif, gave the definition of a wali. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. So every person that has iman, and every person that has taqwa is a wali. And at the head of all the awliya of Allah, starting with the prophets and messengers. Then, going down the ladder, of course, as we'll talk about bi'idhnillah. After that, then comes, after the prophets and then the messengers, then comes the Sahaba. Then after that, if you go down the ladder, then comes the ulama. Who comes the ulama, ahl ilm. That's why you see in these days and times, those who speak ill about ai-imma, such as Imam al-Albani, those such as Imam ibn Baz, those such likewise as of al-Imam Muqbil ibn Hadi al-Wadi'i. Anytime you see anyone speak ill about them, notice Allah always humiliates them. Al-Imam al-Albani, al-Imam ibn Uthaymeen, al-Imam ibn Baz, al-Imam Abdul-Aziz ibn Baz. Anyone that lashes out and you see them making some type of disparagement of them and degrading them, notice Allah always humiliates them. Allah humiliates and disgraces them. You will never hear anyone speaking ill about these ai-imma except Allah disgraces them. Because the hadith is not only exclusively for people who still live, and it's even after their death. You can harm a wali while he's what? Alive. You can harm him while he's dead. So it's not just exclusively for the what? The ahya. It's also for the amwat. Also likewise, if you find someone speaking ill about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, what do you see what happens in the end? Disgrace. Also likewise, when you see someone speaking ill about the Sahaba, likewise, what happens in the end? Disgrace. Jayyid? Jayyid? So that's the reason why one has to take in consideration. Bughd al-Salihin, as we talked about, or hating the Salihin, it goes against the qa'idah of what we know, which is from the shurut of when you become Muslim. of what you're supposed to actualize, which is, as Islam, when you become Muslim, you come in the fold of Islam, where we utter the Shahada, that the meaning of Islam is what, everyone? Istislamu lillahi bit-tawheed, wal-inqiyadu lahu bit-ta'ah, wal-bara'atu min ash-shirki wa ahlih. Which is the opposite, which is what? وَمُوَالَاتِ أهل التوحيد أو موالاة التوحيد أو ولاء التوحيد وأهله. The opposite of that. When you become Muslim, this is the meaning of when you become Muslim. You don't say, oh, Islam means peace. Yes, it's from the necessities of what's going to come as a result of Islam. Yes, it's bring about peace in earth. But the meaning of it is that you submitted yourself to Allah by unifying Him in His worship. Al-istislamu lillahi bit-tawheed, wal-inqiyadu lahu bit-ta'ah, submitting to Him by obeying Him and His messenger. And also separating yourself from shirk and his people, which is the opposite of it, is that you also have to take them as awliya, people who you love, people who are close to you. Take them, make allegiance with them, alliance with them, aiding with them, being protectors of them. Not only just them, but Tawheed itself and its people. That is part of when you become Muslim. That's part of the meaning of La ilaha illallah. As we know from the shurut of La ilaha illallah. Likewise, as we know, even some of them will find. If what you will find Ahl Ilm mentioned about the ta'rif of even from the shurut, of which Al-Hafiz Al-Hakimi mentioned it, what he called Al-Jawhara Al-Farida, where he said in his poetry, وَفِي الشَّهَادَةِ عِلْمُ الْقَلْبِ مُشْتَرَطٌ يَقِينُهُ قَدْ قَبُولٌ لَيْسَ يُفْتَقَدُ إِخْلَاصُكَ الصِّدْقُ فِيهَا مَعَ مَحَبَّتِهَا كَذَا الْوَلَا وَالْبَرَاء فِيهَا لَهَا عَمَدُ فيه توالئ للتقوى وتنصرهم وكل أعدائه إن لهم لعدو. Al-Hafiz, and he says in his poetry, Jawhar al-Farida, where he says, وفي الشهادة علم القلب مشترط يقينه قد قبول ليس يفتقد إخلاصك الصدق فيها مع محبتها كذا الولاء والبراء فيها لها عمد. He says, الولاء والبراء, it is a pillar in those what? The shurut of La ilaha illallah. كذا الولاء والبراء فيها لها عمد فيه توالئ للتقوى وتنصرهم لا تبحث عنه لا وكل أعدائه إن لهم العدو. أرجي هذا أخر هذا فيما بعد. So he says in his poetry, in it that you what? توالئ للتقوى, that you take as awliya uli taqwa, meaning that you love them, you're the protector of them, you aid them, even if they oppress you. This is the point where a lot of people can't what? Get over this hump. Even if they oppress you, even your own people. Still, as long as they are in compliance with the Shahada, and they are actually actualizing, we're not justifying dhulm upon our brothers either. We're not saying, especially Ahl Sunnah, we just mentioned and said we should be the furthest away from oppressing each other. Because like we said, every person, especially Ahl Tawheed, was Salafiyin, that are awliya of Allah. If they're not the awliya of Allah on the earth, who are they? If the awliya of Allah is not the people of Tawheed, the people of Sunnah, Salafiyya, clear minhaj, are not the closest to the awliya of Allah, who are they? As we'll talk about what Ahl Ilm mentioned, Imam al-Shafi'i also mentions, it says that for the fuqaha or the faqih, he says, إِن لَمْ يَكُنْ هُمْ أَوْلِيَاءَ اللَّهِ فَلَيْسَ لِلَّهِ وَلِيٌّ. As Imam al-Shafi'i says, he said that the fuqaha, especially we'll talk about the people of knowledge. Of course, the people of Tawheed are also deserve that description. If they're not the awliya of Allah, then who are they? So if you know that the people of Tawheed, the people of Sunnah are the awliya of Allah, then you should know that you should be staying away from harming them in every which manner. Not to harm your brothers whatsoever. We don't condone that whatsoever, that you shall harm your brother or harm your sister. But the danger of it is, no one knows. You might harm a wali or your brother or your sister, which will come as Allah's harp will come against you. That's the reason why we try to be nice to each other, gentle with each other, and treating each other kindly and politely. Because of this hadith. Jayyid? Tayyib. So based upon Al-Hafidh al-Hakim mentions in his poetry, he says from the shurut of La ilaha illallah, from the shurut is what, everyone? He says, فِيهِ تُوَالِي أُولِي التَّقْوَى, excuse me for point. فِيهِ تُوَالِي أُولِي التَّقْوَى وَتَنْصُرُهُمْ. In that you take as the people of taqwa, awliya, and you aid them. وَكُلُّ أَعْدَائِهِ إِنَّ لَهُمْ لَعْدُوٌ. All the enemies of Allah were enemies to them. Jayyid. So that's the reason why the shurut of La ilaha illallah is built upon Hubb al-Salihin, loving the Salihin, loving the righteous. What time is it? Why is it always my time goes so fast? Anyway. In regards to the shurut of La ilaha illallah, also likewise, we'll talk about bi'idhnillah, this is a lot I want to talk about, that this asl of loving the Salihin, first we want to talk about who are they. We just talked about who's a wali. And we talked about that the asl goes back to the origin and foundation of our religion. Even when you come into the fold of Islam, you have to actualize this what? This right here. As soon as you come to Islam, that's part of your genetics. That you have to have wala wal bara. That you have to love a certain people, and you have to likewise have a type of hatred. Especially for those who what? Oppose, and those who likewise want corruption in the earth and evil in the earth. There has to be some type of what? Boundaries. So you find that who are the awliya of Allah that we're supposed to love? Who is we are supposed to have that hub towards? We just said at the head of them. And who's from the Salihin? In accordance to the title, if everyone looks in their book. The Salihin, at the head of them are the Rusul and the Anbiya, are the prophets and the messengers. All of them, it's binding upon us. It's binding upon us, obligatory upon us to love them. And to not make any distinction between them, because hating the prophets or making any type of distinction between them is kufr. Making any distinction between the prophets, Allah had declared them to be kuffar. As Allah Ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَكْفُرُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَرُسُلِهِ وَيُرِيدُونَ أَن يُفَرِّقُوا بَيْنَ اللَّهِ إن الذين يكفرون بالله ورسله ويريدون أن يفرقوا بين الله ورسله ويقولون نؤمن ببعض ونكفر ببعض ويريدون أن يتخذوا بين ذلك سبيلا أولئك هم الكافرون حقا وأعتدنا للكافرين عذابا مهينا. جيد. Allah Ta'ala says in his book, where he says, those who disbelieve in Allah and his messengers, وَيُرِيدُونَ أَن يُفَرِّقُوا بَيْنَ اللَّهِ وَرُسُلِهِ, and they want to distinguish between them, and we say we believe with some and we disbelieve in others, we love some and we hate others. We want to take as we might love some, or we might deem some to be alright. Allah Ta'ala says in his book, يُرِيدُونَ يُفَرِّقُوا بَيْنَ اللَّهِ وَرُسُلِهِ وَيَقُولُونَ نُؤْمِنُ بِبَعْضٍ وَنَكْفُرُ بِبَعْضٍ وَيُرِيدُونَ أَن يَتَّخِذُوا بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ سَبِيلًا. And they want to take between that a type of middle course. What did Allah Ta'ala say about them? أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ حَقًّا. Verily they are kuffar in truth. Jayyid. Allah Ta'ala said, so the awliya of Allah, the head of all of them, is the messengers and the prophets. All of them are the salihin. So Allah Ta'ala also says in his book, the ayah, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. Now, Allah Ta'ala says about Ibrahim, وَتِلْكَ حُجَّتُنَا آتَيْنَاهَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ عَلَى قَوْمِهِ نَرْفَعُ دَرَجَاتٍ مِّمَّن نَّشَاءُ إِنَّ رَبَّكَ حَكِيمٌ عَلِيمٌ وَوَهَبْنَا لَهُ إِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ كُلًّا هَدَيْنَا وَنُوحًا هَدَيْنَاهُ مِن قَبْلُ ومن ذريته من داود وسليمان وأيوب ويونس وموسى وهارون وكذلك نجزي المحسنين وزكريا ويحيى وعيسى وإلياس. What Allah Ta'ala say? كل إيش من الصالحين. جيد. All of them from the righteous. Based upon the title, what do you find, يا معاشر الإخوة? حب الصالحين. Loving the Salihin, based upon all the prophets and the messengers, it's obligatory to love them. And that hating them is also likewise hating the prophets or hating them is hating Allah. Because it's embodying upon a person, if you love an individual, that you also love who they love. That's what Ibn al-Qayyim even mentions in his Nuniyah, which is a tremendous poetry, where he says, in Nuniyah, where he says his poetry, he says, أتحب أعداء الحبيب وتدعي حب له ما هذا في إمكاني وكذا تعادي جاهدا أحبابه أين المحبة يا أخ الشيطان وشرط المحبة أن توافق من تحب أن توافق من تحب خلاف حبك بلا نقصان وإن ادعيت محبة الله على خلاف ما يحب فأنت إذا ذو بطلان. He says in his poetry, rahmatullah alayhi. He said, أتحب أعداء الحبيب وتدعي حب له ما ذاك في إمكاني. He says, do you love a person who you claim that, do you love who they hate? أتحب أعداء, the enemies of the one who you love, and you claim that you love him? He said, this is impossible. وكذا تعادي جاهدا أحبابه أين المحبة يا أخ الشيطان. Where is the love? Likewise, تعادي جاهدا أحبابه. You likewise, you also fight with those who he loves. Where is the love? يا محبة أين المحبة يا أخ الشيطان. Where is the love, oh brother of the shaitan? يا أخ الشيطان, as he says in his poetry, rahmatullah alayhi. Ibn al-Qayyim. How much time is left? What time is Cassius supposed to go? كأن الوقت انتهى. ما بقي عليه شيء. استريح. طيب. So, from the shurut of La ilaha illallah is what, everyone? That also you love who Allah loves. You have to love who Allah loves. That's part of what validates your faith. What validates your faith is to love who Allah loves and to hate who Allah hates. And to also likewise, it's part of what validates your faith. And at the head of all those who you're supposed to love, like we said, started with the prophets and the messengers, right, everyone? We just said that Allah Ta'ala declared that to be what? All from the righteous. Am I right? طيب. Also likewise, like we said, we go down the ladder. Also likewise, as we know, the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam is also from the head of those who we're supposed to love. Rather those who mock at him and also speak vile of him alayhi salatu wasalam, knowing as the people was to see him, probably today they will love him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Because every person that seen him loved him. Even though they might disbelieve in the kuffar, looked and knew there was something. There was something very, very what? Extraordinary about him. Alayhi salatu wasallam. We're not going to go to the Sufi to the point where but we know that the Prophet sallallahu, even when the people looked at it, they knew that the man was what? This man that came with truth. To the point where even the Sahaba had so much respect and reverence for him, they couldn't even look him in his face out of so much respect and out of so much reverence for him. So he said them. They couldn't. Sometimes they would show their head to talk. They said, "Ma kanu yuhiddun nadrahu ilayhi." Alayhi salatu wasalam. Ma kanu yuhiddun nadrahum ilayhi. Alayhi salatu wasalam. Ta'zim lahu. Alayhi salatu wasalam. They used to like look a sharp look at him, or look at him in a disrespectful manner. I'd have shown reverence for him. Alayhi salatu wasalam. Having love for him. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Also, you'll find like those who speak ill and defame him, sallallahu, as Allah Ta'ala says about that, Inna kafaynaka al-mustahzi'in. We will suffice you for those who mock at you. We will take on, and we will what? We will take on their affairs. Either Allah will guide them to Islam, or they'll be humiliated. And this is what we find in all of history. Those who speak ill about the Prophet sallallahu, those who speak ill about him, sallallahu, then what came as a result of it, like we said, you find that they became humiliated. And that Allah Ta'ala had either guided them to the haqq, or like we said, they became from those who were disgraced. Then after the Prophet ﷺ, this is what Sheikh Muhammad Abdul-Wahab puts in your books. This is what we want to speak about now. And this is in regards to the Sahaba. The Sahaba after the Prophet ﷺ was the best of creation. And that's what is mentioned here in the book. As they are the Ansar Rasulillahi alayhi salatu wasalam. As the Sahaba, in regards to the ayah. And Allah Ta'ala has spoke about them. As we know the Sahaba, all of them have been what? Guaranteed paradise. All of them. All of the Sahaba is guaranteed paradise. As far as the nusus of the text that mentions certain names, that's just specifically saying who's what going to be in paradise specifically. Generally, all the Sahaba are in paradise. All the Sahaba are in paradise. Generally. As Allah Ta'ala says in His book, لا يستوي منكم من أنفق من قبل الفتح وقاتل أولئك أعظم درجة من الذين أنفقوا من بعد وقاتلوا وكلا وعد الله إيش الحسنى كلا وعد الله الحسنى. Allah, they're not equal to one who spent before the Fatih to the ones who spent after the Fatih, after the conquest. They are on the better degree. Those who spent before the conquest, they are on a higher degree than those who spent after the Fatih. All of them are guaranteed husna. What is husna? All of them are guaranteed paradise. So if all of them are guaranteed paradise, then what, everyone? Then they are from the awliya of Allah. And the awliya of Allah, like we said, either while he's alive or if he's dead, you speak about him, Allah makes war with you. That's why it's not for anyone to speak ill about the Sahaba after the Prophet ﷺ, as you'll find they all been humiliated. Anyone that had his nasib or his portion of speaking in a vile manner against the Sahaba, all of them became humiliated, disgraced, and they've been exposed. Started at the heads of them from the Rawafid and the Shia, who cursed the Sahaba. Every single last, or they cursed and said the majority of them had apostated, except a few of them. Or they make say that Abu Bakr and Umar, what they make the dua called the Sanamay Nar. The Sanamay, they said the two statues in the hellfire, who's Abu Bakr or Umar. The two statues that's in hell. Look who you see at the level of the Rawafid and the Shia. How do the people look at them? Except that they look at them with kufr and nifaq and hypocrisy. And this is the reason why you'll find that speaking ill about any of the Sahaba, speaking ill about them was a sign that a person either has what? Either has kufr with him or he has nifaq, in which we'll talk about bi'idhnillah, and like what the great Imam al-Tahawi had mentioned in his other. And this is what I wanted to read right quick, in which the Imam al-Tahawi mentions about the Sahaba, which he mentions in, it's called Aqidat al-Tahawiyah. Listen to what he says, Imam al-Tahawi. He said, بغض صحابة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. He says, نحن نحب أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا نفرط في حب أحد منهم ولا نتبرأ من أحد منهم ونبغض من يبغضهم وبغير الخير يذكرهم ولا نذكرهم إلا بخير وحبهم دين وإيمان وإحسان وبغضهم كفر ونفاق وطغيان. Then Imam al-Tahawi, when he mentions the Aqidah al-Tahawiyah, which is the Sharh by Ibn Abil Izz al-Hanafi, where he says, we love the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and we do not go to the extremes of loving them, meaning we don't raise them above their level to the point where they are deities. La. We do not go to the extremes in loving any of them, nor do we free ourselves from any of them. And we hate, and we hate for those who hate them. And we hate for those who hate them. Why is this, brothers? Because they're the ones who what? It's the reason why we're Muslim now in this room. Because of who? Who's that from the reference of? After Allah and His Messenger, huh? Sahaba. Everyone in this room is Muslim because of their juhud, because of their efforts. So now what would you want to come to the ones who actually were the reason, Allah made them the reason for why we became Muslim in the first place, and why and how the religion was conveyed to us and properly preserved, except that the aim is to what? To destroy the religion itself. Because just as the Ai have mentioned in regards to those who make ta'in and disparage those who convey the religion to us, when you want to drop in the shuhud, then you can start actualizing or speaking, you can start speaking about the religion itself. for those who conveyed it, if they are ones who's actually been looked upon in a suspicious manner, then after you drop them, then now you can what? You can start eradicating the religion and start saying that's suspect too. So that's the reason why we have this position against those who speak ill about the Sahaba. So this is what he goes on to say. وَلَا نَتَبَرَّأُ مِنْ أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ وَنُبْغِضُ مَا يُبْغِضُهُمْ وَبِغَيْرِ الْخَيْرِ يَذْكُرُهُمْ وَلَا نَذْكُرُهُمْ إِلَّا بِخَيْرٍ. He said, for those who speak other than good, also likewise we hate those who hate them, and also those who do not speak good about them. And we do not mention about them except good. And حُبُّهُمْ دِينٌ وَإِيمَانٌ وَإِحْسَانٌ. Loving them is deen, iman wa ihsan. Loving them is deen, iman wa ihsan. وَبُغْضُهُمْ كُفْرٌ وَالنِّفَاقٌ وَطُغْيَانٌ. And hating them is kufr, nifaq, tughyan. Kufr, I think everyone knows that. Nifaq, everyone knows that. Also tughyan is ta'addi, transgressing the bounds. As we know, Shaykh Salih Fawzan, hafidhullah wa ra'ah, he says in regards to this, he says, وَمَذْهَبُ أَهْلِ السُّنَّةِ وَالْجَمَاعَةِ مُوَالَاةُ أَهْلِ بَيْتِ النَّبِيِّ صلى الله عليه وسلم. That the madhab of Ahl Sunnah, he says that to take and actualize that loyalty and that allegiance and that alliance with the Bayt al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, with the family of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As for the group, the Nawasib, as we know, there are two groups, and as Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah had brought in the Aqidat al-Wasitiyah, that Ahl Sunnah is in the middle between all those deviant sects, right everyone? Every affair that they went to the extremes and went against in the bounds in, either being too extreme or either being too lax, Shaykh al-Islam says that Ahl Sunnah is in the middle of all those sects. From those sects that he mentioned is the Nawasib and the Rawafid. Between all those different sects, for example, Ahl Sunnah is in between Ahl al-Ta'til wa Ahl al-Tashbih. Ahl Sunnah is in between from the people of, from the Murji'ah and the Khawarij or the Wa'idiyah. Ahl Sunnah is in between from those who are from Ahl al-Ta'til wa Ahl al-Tashbih. Meaning that they didn't go to the extremes where they negated the sifat of Allah, nor that they go to the extremes where they say Allah resembles the creation. Rather, they're in the middle, where they negate from Allah what does not befit Him, meaning, for example, of Him having food, or eating, or drinking, or having a wife, or having a female, or having a son. All those affairs are negated from Allah to bring with ta'ala, because it does not befit the Creator to have those characteristics, because it goes against the characteristic of that which is what they call ghina'un dhati, Him being absolute, complete, self-sufficient, and not in need of any creation. So the fact that Allah, if He had these characteristics of food, drink, son, or having a wife or female companion, that goes against that characteristic that is from His essence, which is called ghina, that Allah is ghani, that He has absolute self-sufficiency and not in need of anything He created. Also likewise, Ahl Sunnah are not from Ahl Ta'til, nor are they from Ahl Tashbih, nor are they from the people resembling saying that Allah's hand is like my hand, or Allah's face is like my face, or Allah's face is like the face of the creation. No, likewise, but however, they are in the middle, because Allah Ta'ala laid that minhaj down for them in His book. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. طيب. Also likewise, you find in what he says that Ahl Sunnah are in between the deviant sects such as the Wa'idiyah, from the Khawarij and the Mu'tazila. As the Wa'idiyah says that the person who commits a major sin, then he's left the fold of Islam. But however, Ahl Sunnah do not say that. But at the same time, we do not remove him from the fold of the religion. But we do say that his iman is incomplete. His iman is incomplete, and he's subjected himself under the anger of Allah Ta'ala if he does not make tawbah. That person hasn't left the fold of Islam, but his iman is naqis. Or as you'll find, that Ahl Sunnah called him fasiqun milli. He's a person that's fasiqun milli. Or Ahl Sunnah is in between the Wa'idiyah and the Murji'ah. Nor likewise are we like to go to the opposite side of the extreme where we're like the what? The people of Irja. Meaning that a person says, no matter what he does of evil, or what he's left off of his obligations, he has complete faith. That's also incorrect. So, likewise, Ahl Sunnah is in. This is what we're speaking about now. They're not like the Nawasib, nor are they like the Rawafid. We're right in the middle. The Nawasib, they're the ones that curse the family of the Prophet ﷺ. They hate the family of Ahlul Bayt. From the immediate family of the Prophet ﷺ, they hate all of them, not Nawasib, as they don't exist. A ta'ifa or group, اسم طائفة مستقلة موجودة في ساحة الدعوية الآن تنتسب إلى الفرقة تسمى إيش؟ النواصب. ولكن فكرهم ماذا؟ Any rate, that with regards to the Nawasib, they're not a particular sect called the Nawasib. They hate the family of the Prophet ﷺ, but we still study it. So a person, if he falls into it, will say that this is the ideology of the Nawasib. You cannot hate the family of the Prophet ﷺ. Also, likewise, the opposite extreme of that is this. The opposite extreme of the Nawasib, who are on the opposite side of the fence, as they say, or the opposite side of the spectrum, is the Rawafid. Those who curse the messenger or curse the Sahaba, those who make takfir of them and say they're disbelievers, those who curse them and say that they're from the, or Abu Bakr or Umar is from the hellfire, and their dua that they make, as the Rawafid have a specific dua for Umar, Abu Bakr or Umar. They call it dua as-sanamain. They call it the dua as-sanamain, the dua of the two idols. Who are they talking about? Abu Bakr or Umar. Dua as-sanamain. So, Shaykh al-Islam came and says that Ahl Sunnah are not like the Rawafid on this side, nor they are on the Nawasib on this side. However, they're in the middle. What do you mean in the middle? Meaning that we give haqq to Ahlul Bayt, we love them. But we do not what? Raise them to the level of, as if they're deities. Oh, I'm sorry. As if they're deities, or they're what? People that deserves to be worshipped. But we say and give them their level of respect in which Allah and His Messenger have given them. Also likewise. Nor are we like the Rawafid or the Shia, who go to the extremes of what they say in regards to the Sahaba, that they're takfir or they fell into kufr, or that the Prophet ﷺ, from the Ghulat to the Shia that said that the Prophet ﷺ did not deserve a nubuwa or risala, or Jibreel had made a mistake and he should have been to give it to Ali. As Ahlul Sunnah do not say in regards to them that they're what? We do not say speak ill about the Sahaba. We love them and give them their respect, but we do not take them beyond the bounds of what? Raising them to the level of deities likewise. And also raising them to the level of isma, of infallibility, as what they do with their Ithna Ashara al-Imamiyah. That's what they do, their so-called imams, what they said that they're the conductors in this existence and that they're infallible. They're not capable of making any mistake. You'll see that they've went into those type of extremes. Rather, Ahl Sunnah is right in the middle between what? The Nawasib and the what? The Rawaf. Jayyid? A lot of movement today. طيب. So you find that the Sheikh Salih Fawzan that he mentions in this regard, that he says that Ahl Sunnah are in the middle. And even Sheikh Salih Fawzan mentions this, he says, النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام أما النواصب فيوالون الصحابة ويبغضون بيت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. He says والروافض العكس والوا أهل البيت بزعمهم وأبغضوا الصحابة ويلعنونهم ويكفرونهم ويذمونهم ومن يبغض الصحابة فإنه يبغض الدين لأنهم هم حملة الإسلام واتباع المصطفى عليه الصلاة والسلام فمن أبغضهم فقد أبغض الإسلام. He said they're not like the Nawasib, nor are they like the Rawafid. He says for one who curses the Sahaba or makes takfir of them or dispraises them, and whoever hates the Sahaba, verily he hates the religion, and because they're the carriers of Islam, they're the ones who conveyed it to us. They are the followers of Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and whoever hates them, then they hate Islam. He said, فهذا دليل على أنه ليس في قلوب هؤلاء إيمان وفيه دليل على أنهم لا يحبون الإسلام. هذا أصل عظيم يجب على المسلمين معرفته وهو محبة الصحابة وتقديرهم لأن ذلك من الإيمان وبغضهم وبغض أحد منهم من الكفر والنفاق ولأن حبهم من حب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وبغضهم من بغض النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Then he says in the last part, he says this is a tremendous asl, a tremendous foundation, and a tremendous principle upon the Muslims that they have knowledge of, which does love all of the Sahaba, and to have reverence for them, and to revere them, because that is from Iman, and loving them, hating them or hating any one of them is from kufr, and is from hypocrisy. Because loving them is loving the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and hating them is hating the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam. So we say, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, in regards to this, this is also from the awliya of Allah. The awliya of Allah, or from loving the Sahaba, falls in accordance to what you see in your book, where it says loving who? Loving the Salihin. It's to love all the Sahaba, not to speak ill of any one of them. Because all of them are in paradise. And if how you want to speak ill about the one who's going to be in paradise, it doesn't make absolutely any sense that one would speak ill about anyone who's going to, his abode is known where he's going. We're trying to get where they are. It's already been established. Anything that you want to bring of a text that shows some type of discrepancy or mistake, all of it has been forgiven for. So the fact, if you try to bring a text to utilize to say that this is the reason why we hate so-and-so, or he fell into bid'ah, or for so-and-so, the Sahabi, that he was asabi al-mizaj, that one of the prophets were asabi al-mizaj, or for example, like one of the Sahaba, that the actual Khilafah fell after Uthman, that Islam started to go backwards after his Khilafah, or speaking anything ill, reviling them in some type of ill manner. Except, like you said, in the end you will find that Allah disgraces the person. You can name names starting from Sayyid Qutb, all the way up to Abu al-Hasan al-Maribi, all the way up to Yahya al-Hujuri, all the way up to anyone you want to think of, except in the end they were disgraced. The door of speaking about the Sahaba or speaking ill of them is shut. You have too many examples now in these days and times for it to be known and clear that what Allah will do to you if you speak about any of these righteous people. Except Allah will dispose you, or He will send one of His junud, or one of His soldiers, whether it be from Ahl Ilm, from the A'imma these days and times, it will expose you. Expose that you are from those who actually have something in your chest against the Sahaba. You can't talk and speak ill about anyone who Allah Ta'ala says in this book, لا تجد قوما يؤمنوا بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من حاد الله ورسوله ولو كانوا آباءهم أو أبناءهم أو إخوانهم أو عشيرتهم أولئك كتب في قلوبهم الإيمان وأيدهم بروح منه ويدخلهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أولئك حزب الله ألا إن حزب الله هم المفلحون رضي الله عنهم وأرضوا عنه. Allah Ta'ala talks about those, and this is exactly what we're speaking about now. Goes against the asaf wal wala wal bara. You will not find anybody that opposes what? لا تجد قوما يؤمنوا بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من حاد الله ورسوله. You will never find anyone that believes Allah on the last day. يوادون من حاد الله ورسوله. They're making love with those who hate Allah and His Messenger. Even if they were your what? Your forefathers or your oya. لو كانوا أباءهم أو أبناءهم أو إخوانهم أو عشيرتهم. They are the ones who Allah has truly put in their heart faith. And He has aided them with ruhin min. From ruh, from Him. And that is what they call idafat al-tashrif. ويدخلهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها رضي الله عنهم وأرضوا عنه أولئك حزب الله لا إن حزب الله هم المفلحون. Allah is pleased with all of them, and they are pleased with Him. So now, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, Allah Ta'ala has talked about this is their state. And this is likewise the mu'mineen. Also likewise what's coming upon them is to also look in the ayat. In the book of Allah talking about this also. And so many ayats that we could talk about going on and on and on. There's another ayat where Allah Ta'ala says in this book, والله says in Surah Al-Ma'idah, وَلَا تَتَّبِعْ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ وَاحْذَرْهُمْ أَنْ يَفْتِنُوكَ عَنْ بَعْضِ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ فَإِنْ تَوَلَّوْا فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَنْ يُصِيبَهُمْ بِبَعْضِ ذُنُوبِهِمْ وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ النَّاسِ لَفَاسِقُونَ أَفَحُكْمَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ يَبْغُونَ وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ اللَّهِ حُكْمًا لِقَوْمٍ يُوقِنُونَ. Then Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ma'idah, right the ayat, right directly after that. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء بعضهم أولياء بعض ومن يتولهم منكم فإنه منهم إن الله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين فترى الذين في قلوبهم مرض يسارعون فيهم يقولون نخشى أن تصيبنا دائرة فعسى الله أن يأتي بالفتح أو أمر من عنده فيصبحوا على ما أصروا في أنفسهم نادمين فيقول الذين آمنوا أهؤلاء الذين أقسموا جهد أيمانهم إنهم لمعكم حبطت أعمالهم فأصبحوا خاسرين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا من يرتد منكم عن دينه فسوف يأتي الله بقوم يحبهم وإيش ويحبون أذلة على المؤمنين أعزة على من كافرين يجاهدون في سبيل الله ولا يخافون لومة لائم ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله واسع عليم. إنما وليكم الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم راكعون ومن يتولى الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا فإن حزب الله هم الغالبون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا الذين اتخذوا دينكم هزوا ولعبا من الذين أوتوا الكتاب والكفار أولياء واتقوا الله. To the end of the ayah. There's a whole page talking about it. يا أيها الذين آمنوا يا أيها الذين لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء. To the end of the ayah. Well, Allah Ta'ala says in His book. We can quickly start. لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء بعضهم أولياء بعض. Do not take the Yahud and the Nasara as awliya. They are awliya of each other. If you now start to involve yourself in their politics, because we know that the vote time is all near, it's coming close. And you start to involve yourself in their affairs of democracy. And you start to involve yourself in their affairs, knowing that it's all a setup for you. It's all being set up just to humiliate you. As even the non-Muslims now are starting to realize it's a joke. They're even knowing that it's a joke. They're not even pleased with their two candidates. They know that they both have something wrong with them, and that there's discrepancies in them. They even starting to see it. It's a shame that the Muslims has this delay. This is what Allah says, that they're awliya one another. The system is not to aid you. Ba'dahum awliya'u ba'd. Whoever takes them as awliya from them, you are from them. Verily Allah la yahdi al-qawm al-zalimin. Until the end of the ayah, when I'm going to skip past some of the ayats where it says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu man yartadda minkum an dini. فَسَوْفَ يَأْتِي اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَ. He says, oh, those who, now this is what I was talking about in the khutbah yesterday. Those who apostate from their religion, Allah will bring forth other people. They will love Him, He will love them, and they will love Him. Being easy and soft with the believers, meaning the people of Salafiyah, the people of Tawheed, the people of Sunnah. And they will also be stern with those who are disbelieved, or those who disbelieve. They fight in His cause, and then they what? And do not fear those, or the blameworthiness of those who will blame them. Until Allah Ta'ala says in this last part of the ayah where it says, O you who believe, do not take لا تتخذوا إنما وليكم الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم راكعون. To the end of the ayah. He said, verily your wali is Allah and His messenger and those who what? Believe. So we say, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, all these ayats speaking good about the Sahaba, at the head, speaking all in good about the messengers, speaking good about the prophets, speaking good about the Sahaba, praising them and having reverence for them, and putting it in a manner of Allah and His messenger, how they, and giving them the status that they deserve. Not going to the extremes where they are now raised to the levels of deities. Like how the Christians did with what? With Jesus. And also likewise with the Rawafid, Isa ibn Maryam. Or the Shia did the Rawafid did with the Ithna Ashra Imamiyah. Raising them to the level of what? The Isma. Raising them to the level of where they do not make any mistakes. Rather, not only that, they say they are deities. They conduct in this existence where they can make things happen in this type of world, this type of place that we live in. They can conduct in those affairs. So we give them their respect. But at the same time, it's binding upon us to what? Speak good about them, love them, and take them as awliya. And not to go to the extremes. Also likewise from what is from Ahl Sunnah, from the usul of Ahl Sunnah, so obligatory upon us to love is Ahl Ilm. Is Ahl Ilm. As Ahl Ilm, they also are from the Ansar of this hadith that you find in your books. Ahl Sunnah is not from just Aus and Khazraj and that's it. Rather also likewise they are from those who give aid to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. As you'll find that in the hadith, where it says, what does it say in your book? Can someone read it for me real quick? No one hates the Ansar except the one who, no one hates the Ansar for the one who disbelieves in Allah or disbelieves in the day. What does it say? G. Nobody hates the Ansar for the one who believes in Allah in the last day. Notice that's in your books. A lot of people think what comes to their mind is just the Sahaba. It's not just exclusively for the Sahaba. It's just for Aus and Khazraj. It's also likewise from anyone who has, or is from the Ansar of the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, also comes in that description. As you find that Ibn al-Qayyim also mentions that in his Nuniyah. He says about how Ahl Sunnah is not just only exclusively for Aus and Khazraj who take that description in that hadith. Where he says in that poetry, he says, أَوَمَا عَلِمْتَ بِأَنَّ أَنصَارَ دِينِ أَوَمَا عَلِمْتَ بِأَنَّ أَنصَارَ دِينِ لِلَّهِ. Now Ahl Sunnah, أنصار دين الله, that Ahl Sunnah they are أنصار دين الله والإيمان والقرآن. أوما علمت بأنهم أنصار رسول لي وهم بلا شك ولا نكران. أيبغض الأنصار مؤمن عبد مدرك لروائح الإيمان. Where he says in the last part of his poetry, he says, in regards to those who are from the Ansar of Allah and His Messenger, he says it's Ahl Sunnah. So anybody from Ahl Sunnah, from the Salafiyeen, Ahl Haq, and upon the correct Tawheed, does not just take from the Ansar that's mentioned in the Hadith. They also included in it, it was comprehensive for it, it's from Ahl Sunnah. That hating them and speaking ill about them also likewise is considered from nifaq and hypocrisy. It's not only just general for what? Khaws and Azraj. As a lot of people will think that the description has only been what? Restricted to them and that's it. But however, the hadith, like we said, is comprehensive and vast for all of Ahl Sunnah, and especially as for the people of Ahl Ilm at the head of all them. This is what I want to mention, what Ibn Asakir mentioned in his narration. Ibn Asakir says in this tremendous narration I wanted to read quick before we ended it off soon. Ibn Asakir, he mentioned, rahimahullah. He says in regards to Ahl Ilm, he says, "I'lam rahimakallah." He said, may Allah have mercy upon me and upon you. And may He also give you tawfiq in this dunya and in the hereafter. Listen to what he says about Ahl Ilm. When we speak about Ahl Ilm, we talk about ulama as-sunnah, the a'imma. And at the head in these days and times, as we said, Al-Imam Rabi', Al-Imam Al-Ubayd, Al-Imam Muhammad Nasruddin, before them Muhammad Nasruddin Al-Albani, Al-Imam Shaykh Abdul-Aziz bin Baz, and all of them. Listen to what he says. اعلم يا أخي وفقني الله وإياك لمرضاته وجعلني وإياك ممن يخشاه ويتقيه حق تقاته أن لحوم العلماء مسمومة وعادة الله في هتك أستار منقصهم معلومة وأن من أطلق لسانه في العلماء بالثلب بلاه الله قبل موته بموت القلب. This is what Ibn Asakir says. اعلم يا أخي وفقني الله وإياك. He says, no, oh my brother, may Allah give me tawfiq and give you tawfiq in order to attain His pleasure. And may Allah make me and you from those who fear Him and also have taqwa and fear Him as He ought to be feared. Listen to Ibn Asakir, he said, that all the meat or the luhum of the ulama, that they are luhum of the ulama, meaning talking and speaking vow, and also disparaging them and dispraising them. He said that the luhum al-ulama, he said that is poisonous. And that it is from the adatullah, that is from the sunnah of Allah ta'ala in exposing and tearing down the curtains of those who speak ill about them. He says is known that a person that speaks ill about the ulama bithalbi, when they wanted to start to disparage and dispraise them and speak ill about them, balahu Allah qabla mawtihi bimawtil qalb. Allah will test him before his death by putting to death his heart. Bimawtil qalb. Due to the ayah, فَلْيَحْذَرِ الَّذِينَ يُخَالِفُونَ عَنْ أَمْرِهِ أَنْ تُصِيبَهُمْ فِتْنَةٌ أَوْ يُصِيبَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. Then when he goes on to say, of course, the tremendous level of Ahl Ilm and their high status. Listen to what he goes on to say. The Shaykh Abdur-Rahman al-Sa'idi, he says in regards to this. He said, كما يقول الشيخ عبد الرحمن السعدي رحمه الله أنهم أهل السنة يدينون الله باحترام العلماء الهدى، أي أن أهل السنة والجماعة يتقربون إلى الله بتوقير العلماء وتعظيم حرمتهم. The Ahl Sunnah, that they profess Allah by respecting the guided ulama, meaning the ulama who's upon the correct aqidah, the correct minhaj. If I had any books. That they draw close to Allah Ta'ala by praising the ulama, having reverence for them, revering them, glorifying their sanctity. And also likewise, what Hasan al-Basri mentions in the Athar, he says, of course, given a high level of Ahl Ilm, موت العالم ثلمة في الإسلام لا يسدها شيء ما اختلف ليل ونهار. He says that the mot of a scholar, ثلمة في الإسلام, it's like piercing the wall in Islam, in which it will never be filled. Anything as long as the days and nights are what? They come and go. Why? Because we know that the death of the ulama is what, everyone? It's something detrimental in the end. The Prophet ﷺ said, دعوا الله تبارك وتعالى لا ينتزع العلم انتزاع من ينتزع من صدور العباد ولكن يقبض العلم بمن قبض العلماء حتى لا يتخذ عالما اتخذ الناس رؤوس جهالا فسئلوا وأفتوا بغير علم فضلوا وأضلوا. That hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, as we know, that Allah will not snatch and take away the ilm, what? Take it out of the hearts of the people, the hearts of the people. However, He will take and snatch away the ilm for the what? Death of the ulama. So it's something that is what? Very detrimental upon of Islam and other people. That's once the scholars go, then more darkness, and you'll see more darkness and more darkness and more darkness coming to what? To the people. Because the ulama are the masabih of this ummah. They are the lanterns and the lights of this ummah. Listen to also likewise al-Imam al-Awza'i. Al-Imam al-Awza'i, as we know, is Abdur-Rahman ibn Amr al-Awza'i, Imam Ahl al-Sham, rahmatullah alayh. Al-Imam al-Awza'i, his full name is Abdur-Rahman ibn Amr al-Awza'i, Imam Ahl al-Sham. That he says, الناس عندنا أهل الصن أهل العلم ومن سواهم فلا شيء. That he said, Al-Imam Abdur-Rahman ibn Amr al-Awza'i, that he mentioned that other, he says that people with us are people that have ilm. It's not that the only thing he say dunya. He says the people with us are Ahl ilm. Who are other than them, they're not anything. فلا شيء. Meaning that are of religion are people that have knowledge. They're not just people of what? That just walking around like the Christians and they're ignorant of what they know. Just talking about whereupon how can they just argue with you with opinions and just feelings, not bringing any what? Hujaj whatsoever. Rather, Ahl Sunnah, we are people of knowledge. People that possess the ilm. That's what gives us that praiseworthiness of what a person deserves. When a person is considered a person that has knowledge, you deem him to be what? Someone that have a high status and a high level. And the person that's jahil, you look down at him to be what? To be kind of like lowly a little bit. Even though he might have dunya, but when he speaks, you say, wow, he has some jahil with him. You understand? So a person would think, especially what Ahl Ilm, how they just remembered the poetry, where it says, listen to this poetry. He says, الناس من جهة التمثال أكفاء أبوهم آدم والأم حواء إن لم يكن في أصلهم نسب يتفاخرون به فالماء والطين ما الفضل إلا لأهل العلم إنهم على الهدى لما استهزأ ذلاء وقدر كل امرئ ما كان يحسنه والجاهلون لأهل العلم أعداء. He says in the poetry. Jayyid, listen what he says in the poetry. He says that the people, he said that they're different. Of course, our asl is what? Abuhum Adamu wa Hawwa'u. إن لم يكن في أصلهم نسب يتفاخرون به فالماء والطين. If they don't have, of course, from some type of praiseworthy lineage from a family, he said for their if they don't have that, then they all have to go back to one origin, which is what? Being from dirt and being from what? Water and clay, or being from water and dirt. He said, ما الفضل إلا لأهل العلم إنهم على الهدى لما استهدى أذلاؤه وقدر كل امرئ ما كان يحسنه والجاهلون لأهل العلم أعداؤه. He said those who are ignorant for the people of knowledge, they are the true enemies. Jayyid. So a person who has ilm, and that shows the high status of Ahl ilm, is from what? Is from the ulama, of course. They are the heads of who we should what? Have that reverence and have that utmost respect. Listen to also what comes in another other, where it says Sufyan al-Thawri. He said, لو أن فقيها على رأس جبل لكان هو الجماعة. He said, if there's a faqih upon the Ra's al-Jabal, verily he is the jama'ah. Well, meaning that the person is upon the correct aqidah and the athar of Ahl Sunnah, and the person is upon the Sunnah, of course, and that was just him and that was it. He is the jama'ah. Also, likewise, which is the opposite of that. Even if a person is climbing upon water, or if it's a person that can jump and float in the air, and he's not upon the correct aqidah and the correct methodology, then know that he is a person that's upon bid'ah, and Allah is setting him up for a trap and using him as a fitna to misguide the people, in which we see that those magicians and those sorcerers practice these days. And that's what the Imam al-Shafi'i also said in another poetry. He said, he says about the man who floats in the water, he's not upon the correct aqidah. He said, لو رأيت الرجل يطير فوق ماء البحر يسير ولم يقف عند حدود الشرع فاعلم أنه مستدرج بدعي. إذا رأيت الرجل يطير فوق ماء البحر يسير ولم يقف عند حدود الشرع فاعلم أنه مستدرج بدعي. If you see a man floating above water, or you see him flying in the air, and above water he's traversing, and he did not stop at the hudud of the shara', notice that he's mustadrajun bid'i. Allah is setting him up for a trap, and and he's also a person that's upon bid'ah. Jayyid. So he goes on to say, An-Nas, about the people. Oh, what time is it? Oh. I'll read this last fa'idah. Listen what it says of Shaykh Abdul-Rahman al-Sa'di that he mentions. It says, we know the ayat which is in Surah Al-Hajj. It says, وَمَن يُعَظِّمْ حُرُمَاتِ اللَّهِ فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِ وَمَن يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِن تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. The ayat where Allah Ta'ala says in his book, whoever magnifies the sanctities of Allah, or those sacred matters of Allah, those hudud, those boundaries that Allah has set, for verily that is good with his Lord. Just listen to this. And whoever glorifies the rituals of Allah, for verily that is from the piety of the hearts, which is the Surah Hajj, ayat number 30, ayat number 32. This is what Shaykh Abdul-Rahman Sa'di says in this ayah. Listen what he says. And this is قال العلماء. This is also another statement. كل من أذن الله وأشعر بفضله وتعظيمه العلماء بلا ريب يدخلون دخولا أوليا. فيما أذن الله وأشعر الله بفضله وتعظيمه بدلالة النصوص الكريمة السافلة الإيراد. What he says about this ayah, which is in Surah Al-Hajj, ayah number 30 and 32. He says and what Allah has given permission, what he mentioned in the ayah, where Allah gave permission, and what Allah Ta'ala made stand out, he made it stand out, the virtue of it, a certain matter, or the glorification of that certain matter, in these ayat, he says the ulama, without any doubt, they firstly come into that. يدخلون فيه دخولا أوليا. For what Allah, فيما أذن الله وأشعر الله بفضله وتعظيمه. And when Allah gave permission, and also what he made stand out of his virtue and his magnification. He said, due to the nusus of the karima of those texts that we just mentioned. There was other things I wanted to talk about, but I guess we'll stop here, inshallah. But anyway, it's like I want to say, just gather up, brothers. Excuse me. What the brothers will say, that it's incumbent upon us to realize that every mu'min taqi is a what? Wali. Every mu'min taqi. Notice in the hadith in your books, there's a badi, or there's a sir, badihi. There's a fa'idah that I wanted to give to the hadith that a lot of people probably didn't realize or a little bit inadvertent of. If you notice in the hadith, it says, whoever makes war with a wali, or whoever harms a wali of mine, I've what? Declare war against him. Jayyid? We just said that the definition of every wali is a what? Mu'min taqi. At the head of all of them are the people of the Sunnah, the people of Tawheed, Salafiyah. They're at the heads of the awliya of Allah. Jayyid? The awliya of Allah, how a person increases his wilayah, meaning his love of Allah for him, by making him more stronger in his wilayah or his wilayah, is in the rest of the part of hadith, where it says, لا يزال العبد يتقرب إلي بالنوافل إيش؟ عفوا لا يزال العبد يتقرب إليه أحب إلي من افترضته عليه. What he's made obligatory upon him. And my slave will not never cease to continue to be close to me with the superioratory acts. Until what? Until I love him. Jayyid. That is to show that how a person increases his wilayah with Allah. Meaning that the more a person is obedient, and the more he increases in his what? His duties with Allah, the more his wilayah becomes stronger. That's stronger than a person being what? A wali. But hence, based upon every mu'min at different levels of iman, that every mu'min is a what? Wali. But if he continues to do these actions, his wilayah will get stronger. And some's wilayah of some of the people of al-haq are what? Weaker. But generally they are all what? Awliya of Allah. If they're from Ahl al-Tawheed or Ahl al-Sunnah or Salafiyyin. But the problem is, like we said, if this is the case, that we know that Allah will make war with you if you harm someone who's from the awliya of Allah, how do you think we should be treating each other in this room? If everybody's a wali. How do you think sisters should be treating sisters upstairs? How do you think brothers should be treating each other? If you know that if you're going to harm the wali of Allah, that Allah's going to make war with you. Who can withstand the war of Allah? You understand, everyone? How do you think we're supposed to be treating each other? We should be very careful. Like, man, let's make sure. I should think twice before I try to harm my brother some type of way. Or maybe I should harm wife, but not. Let's go a little bit more personal than that. Maybe to me, think twice before a wife harming a husband, or the husband harming a wife. Right or wrong, everyone? والذين يؤذون المؤمنين والمؤمنات بغير ما اكتسبوا ايش فقد احتملوا بهتانا وإثما مبينا. So we ask Allah to bring with the later. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order the knowledge to be from those who actually took some benefit from the lecture. And if I said something that was wrong, that was from myself. And it was sawab, it's from Allah. We'll stop here. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله